Last year, my life was crap. 3 of my best friends died of heart attacks. As a result, my wife Nancy nags me to change my lifestyle, lose some weight, and avoid a similar fate. Harold died first. Just before Christmas, a week after our traditional Christmas party, his wife found him dead in his bed. In addition to his wife Marcy, he is survived by 2 teenage children. I was returning from a funeral, and Nancy was crying over the loss of our good friend. She asked me to change my lifestyle and diet. She said, and I quote her verbatim, "Mark, you look like Harold. You're about to turn 50. If you don't pay attention to your weight, I might have to attend your funeral next time." Nancy was right. I'm a little overweight. At 6 feet tall, I weighed about 200 pounds. I could probably lose 20 to 30 pounds. But I had 2 main problems. First, I loved food, and Nancy was an excellent cook. Secondly, I'm a homebody. I know that there are many activities that are good for your health, other than sitting in front of the TV. But as I thought about Harold and his lifestyle, I realized that I wasn't really at risk like he was. Trying to calm my wife down, I said, "Don't worry, Nancy. You're right. I should eat healthier and exercise more." Harold, of course, did a lot of things that were dangerous to his health, which I would never do. "Well, take this as a lesson and please try harder. I don't know what I would do if I lost you," she said. My new lifestyle only lasted 2 weeks. As a sales manager for a pharmaceutical company, I must travel at least 5 days out of every 20 to meet with my sales team scattered throughout the surrounding states. And like it or not, unless you're spending hours at the hotel bar drinking beer or spirits, your only free time is spent in your hotel room watching TV. In June, our friend Brad had a heart attack shortly after a Father's Day barbecue. His wife Sheila was Nancy's colleague. We became friends almost 15 years ago. Sheila took it very hard. Their children, like ours, left the home nest and lived on the West Coast. I was very sorry that she was left all alone when her children returned to their lives after the funeral. Nancy seized on this new drama and attacked me with a vengeance. Have you ever eaten just dry, barely buttered toast for breakfast? Or a small salad with fruit for lunch? Or a variation of salad and fruit for dinner? Well, that was my pay for the next month. Just to survive, I had to eat a hamburger or 2 on the way home every day after work. And that doesn't include stopping for a bacon and egg bun in the morning or a hot dog from the street vendor outside my office during lunch. How people can live with such lies in their family is beyond my understanding. I was dying inside, but at least my stomach wasn't grumbling. One evening I came home with some junk food and put it on the table. I've had enough. Darling, I've had enough of this diet. You eat what you want, but tonight I'm going to have this juicy burger and these greasy fries. "But Mark, remember what happened with Brad and Harold," she began. "Stop it now, Nancy. I'm nothing like Brad and Harold. They did things that I had never done. They had an unhealthy lifestyle that far exceeded my frivolous habits. But, no, I've had enough of these little salads that you prepare for lunch or dinner." I thought she would stop talking to me about it, but unfortunately, that didn't last long, as our friend Steve, a neighbor down the street, was found dead in his tool shed on a stormy October day. He just sat in a lawn chair and died of heart failure while sipping a beer after doing some yard work. Immediately after Steve's death, Nancy took it upon herself to push me to live a healthier lifestyle. This included the same infamous salads and lots of evening walks around the neighborhood. This time she kept a careful eye on me. I swear I caught her outside my office spying on me to see if I'd buy hot dogs from a street stand. So silly. This kiosk closes in October and only opens at the end of April. I got pizza delivered from a nearby restaurant. I didn't even have to leave my office. One evening, Nancy found me munching Ritz crackers and sipping good homebrew in the basement. She was in tears, sobbing, and looked defeated. She turned and went upstairs. I left the box of crackers downstairs, but grabbed my beer and another for Nancy. I think it's time for the final showdown. She sat on the sofa, covering her face with her hands, and cried. I sat down next to her, placing the beer in front of her. She looked at me. "Have a beer, honey." "This will help," I said. Still whining, she grabbed the beer and took a long sip. She looked at me again. "Why, Mark, Why don't you pay attention to your health? I'm trying my best to make sure you don't end up like Harold, Brad, or Steve. And so you steal crackers. Why? Do you also want to die of heart failure? I took a sip from the bottle and Nancy did the same. You don't have to worry about me, darling. I am not in any danger of dying like our friends. Their lifestyle was very different from mine. I am as healthy as a horse, as the doctor says. But Mark, how are you so different from them? Like you, they were overweight, didn't exercise unless it was on TV. And the next thing you know, they're dead. What is the difference? Well, I began, not knowing how to say this openly. I took my last sip of beer, and so did Nancy. Seeing my empty bottle, she moved hers towards me, but I pushed her away. Well, I continued, there is one thing that each of them did that I never had and never will have, and that explains why they died of heart failure. Nancy took a sip of her beer and looked sideways at me. I moved closer to her, my mouth an inch from her ear. They all had sex with you in my absence, you dirty, lying cheater. Nancy pulled away from me with the realization that I knew about her infidelities, and, as expected, her hand lay on her heart. She gave me a confused and scared look as the first sign of a heart attack hit her. I stood up, grabbed both bottles of beer from the coffee table, and went to the kitchen to clean up all the evidence. Then I went outside to do some yard work. I'll discover Nancy around dinner time, 3 hours later. Please like and subscribe to the channel and you will never be cheated on.